In this video, I want to show you how to navigate our course on Canvas. So basically, when you log into Canvas, you'll see our course up here at the top, and it says modules, but you'll also notice that the home page is highlighted here over in the tabs on the left. And so just know that the home and the modules tab, if I click on the modules tab, it's the same thing. SCC has set their modules tab to be the home tab because we want students to go to the modules to see their course materials. So basically everything you see down here as I scroll down is part of the modules. And so it's broken up into separate modules. So here's what we call the welcome module. So it's got this little header here that says welcome. And then there's some pages underneath that. So if I click on the very first one there, welcome to PSY230, if I click on that, you'll see the welcome page for this course. There's a welcome video from me, there's some information about the course, and there's just some other things to be doing as you get ready for the course, and again, more information about the specifics of the course. Now, at the bottom here, once you get into these pages, there's these buttons where you can navigate forward and back. So right now, since this is the first page, you can just go next, and then it will take us to the Your Instructor page. So again, you can see a picture of me, you can see some of my information, when my office hours are, and so on. And my response policy, a little bit about my biography. And again, now you can see those navigation. You can go back to the welcome page, or we can go forward to the external course resources. So let's click on next. And under the external course resources, you'll see some information about this system that we're going to use called WebAssign. So WebAssign is where we're going to be doing some of our homework problems as well as our exams. It is the one thing for this class that you're required to do that's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you $22.95, and I've created a video to show you how to create an account in WebAssign and sign up using the class key. So go ahead and look for that video. And then I've also created another video about how to do your problem sets in WebAssign. So those you'll want to look for. But this is some information about that external course resource. And we can go to the next one, and this is a thing called the Online Learning Essentials Short Course. This is just an optional thing for students who are new to online learning. You might go ahead and take this class. It takes about an hour. It's like a little training, and it prepares you to be more successful in an online environment. So one of the things to know is that I'll give you partial or extra credit if you go ahead and do this. There's two options that I'll talk about here in a second, and this is one of them. Complete it, you get the badge, you send me a picture or a screen grab of the badge, and I'll give you 10 points of extra credit on the first exam. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out. I'm not going to use the next button. I'm going to pop back into the home page, and I'll show you what we just did. We looked at the welcome page, then it went to next to your instructor page, then to the external course resources, and then to the Online Learning Essentials Short Course. When I clicked next after that one, it would have popped me down to this page, which is part of our next module. But one of the things is once I've finished with the whole module, with this little tab up here at the top, or not tab, but this whole header here, there's a little triangle here. If I click on that, I can minimize that whole module. So now that whole welcome module, I don't have to keep looking at it every time I log into Canvas. This next module is a pretty long one. It's a bunch of resources available to students at SCC. So some of it's just our college policies, some technical help. If you want Microsoft Office for free as a student, you can go to this link here. There's some information on tutoring. Tutoring is going to be an important thing for this course. We have this place called the Social Behavioral Learning Center. So if I click on SCC Tutor Centers, if you scroll down, you'll find the Social Behavioral Sciences Learning Center. That's where you can get direct tutoring for this class. Jay Hall and Diane Erdenberger are ones who can tutor. Jay more so than Diane, but Diane can definitely do some. And so there are ways that you can look at their schedule, you can make appointments with them, and they can set up essentially video tutoring sessions. And Jay can also answer questions via text and so on. So they're a great place to start, and so I definitely want you to be aware of the Social Behavioral Sciences Learning Center. I've asked Jay to create a video to introduce himself as well as the SBLC to you all, so definitely look for that in the future. Also know that we have this thing called BrainFuse, which is free online 24/7 tutoring for SCC students. I think everybody gets, it might be like 6, yeah, you can get 6 hours of free BrainFuse tutoring. And you can get more by emailing, and then sometimes you can pay for the more. But for right now, this is 24/7 tutoring. It's through a whole system. It's not through SCC, but it's through this company called BrainFuse. So be aware that that exists as well. Now, otherwise, there's some other things in here about how to be a student, how to work with Canvas. So if you're new to Canvas, check that out. There's some academic services to be aware of. There's counseling that we have, and then there's other student services. A couple things to know is we do have a food pantry for those of you who are, a lot of college students go hungry, so we can get you some food if you need it. There's some basic needs assistant links here, and so on. So just some things to be very aware of, but these are just student services that are available to you. So once you've looked through those, you can again minimize that. And so now we get into the information or the content for this class. This first module here is week 0. So you'll notice that it's by week. And right now I've only made week 0 and week 1 available to you. Eventually there's going to be 8 weeks to the class. And I will make those available to you kind of as we work through the semester. Sometimes they're not published yet, and that's just because I haven't created all the material for it, so I want to make sure I get that all fixed and ready to go before I make it available to you. And then sometimes it's just to make sure you're not getting too far ahead, that when we have our live online meetings that we're all kind of in the same place in the class. So what you'll see within each week are some repetitive things. Now, the one thing that's a little different is that I did create a thing called week 0. This is an optional part of the class. So it's listed as optional pre-class activities, but it has some same kind of pages that every week is going to have. So this is actually past. This was the last week before class started. And so there were some things you could have done where you view a video of me. You can also do some assignments. So if you're interested, you can still go back through here and do the optional extra credit assignment. So let me just quickly take you through this. So the overview and learning objectives is basically just to get you used to this course on Canvas and maybe meet me, because I held a couple live session meetings. And then the checklist for this week tells some different things you could have done to prepare. Nothing for that one because before the class even starts. There was some online meetings that we held. And then finally, there's some assignments that you could do. Now, one of the options here is that you could get 10 points of extra credit on the first exam if you do one of these 2 assignments. One is to complete that online learning essentials that I showed you in the welcome tab. The other is to complete this assessment called Smarter Measure and then write a reflection about your strengths and weaknesses. Smarter Measure measures your strengths and weaknesses as an online learning student. And so you just write this short, like about a 1-page reflection on what do you think about your strengths and weaknesses, and how can you work with your weaknesses so that you can still succeed in this course. So definitely check those out if you want to still do them. That's an option for you. You can get 10 points of extra credit on the first exam. Other than that, there was just a couple things that are due during this first week of class that you can start working ahead or even reading ahead and watching some of the lecture videos ahead. So that is the checklist. And then the last one that we have, which again you're going to see every week, is the resources for week 0, which are just some links. This is just, I'm highlighting some of the links in the First Steps module that I think are particularly useful for this course. And then also the links to those assignments for the extra credit. And then finally, the fourth page that's in every week is the live online sessions. So there are links to our live online meetings. So now these were practice sessions that we held last week just so people could get used to working with this program called WebEx and make sure that they could get in and everything would be fine. Definitely at this point, those are past, but you'll see that each week has the same kind of setup. So let me jump back out, show you what we just went through. We went through the 4 pages of week 0, and notice it's overview and learning objectives, checklist, resources, live online sessions. Notice that week 1 starts the same way. Overview and learning objectives, checklist, resources, live online sessions. What you're going to see is that every week starts the same way, has the same 4 pages at the beginning. And then it goes into more detail and has some of the assignments and some of the other lecture videos and so on. So I'm going to close week 0, and now we're going to look at week 1. So again, you'll see overview and learning objectives. So what are we going to cover? The overview is just a quick description of what we're going to be doing that week. So this is for week 1. Then the learning objectives, and they're broken down by essentially chapter or section. And so we're going to be talking about introduction to statistics, frequency distributions, and measures of center. And these are some of the learning objectives that we're going to be doing, hoping that you learn this week. So that's the overview and learning objectives. We click on next. And now we can see the checklist. In preparation for this week, best thing to do would be to read the chapters 1 through 3 in the textbook. Now, I'm going to talk about the textbook a little more in our syllabus video, but just know that the textbook is recommended, not required. You do not need to buy the textbook. I probably say half or more of the students in the class tend to not buy the textbook, and they do just fine. My PowerPoint slides or my slides can be pretty detailed. My lectures are pretty good. WebAssign is really helpful. So many students get by without the textbook, but you can still buy a textbook if you want. So I would read the chapters in the textbook. Another thing I might suggest, but I didn't want to scare students, is to watch ahead the lecture videos for those 3 sections or those 3 chapters. But I didn't want to scare students to come to the very first week of class and realize that they're already behind. So I didn't put it in there, but in the future I will. Now, the live online meetings are discussed here, but then you'll see links later in that later page that's listed as live online meetings. But these are the agendas for those meetings. So those are the meetings that will happen. And again, we meet, I'll need to change the days on this. It should say Tuesdays and Thursdays live online sessions. Sorry about that. So I'll be fixing that. And then finally, all the homework assignments. So these are the things that are going to be needed to be done this week. Now, it's going to look like a lot, partly because this first week we're covering a lot of chapters. These are shorter chapters, and they're also review for a lot of people. So our homework list won't be as long in future weeks, I promise you. And then these will link to the actual pages in Canvas for those assignments. Then we go to the resources for week 1. And we will have slides available to you for the different chapters. And so you can print them out. These are from Google Slides. And so if you print them out, you just know that you can print them out as 1 page or 1 slide per page, which will unfortunately use a lot of paper. So often a better way to do it is you can print it out where it's maybe 3 slides a page or 4 slides a page or 6 slides a page or 9 slides a page. And then you could use those printouts to take your notes on the lectures. So be aware that those are some resources available to you. Also know that the textbook has some a website where you have some practice multiple choice questions and some flashcards. And these are free to you. You do not have to own the textbook to use these websites. So definitely check those out. And I also put some links to some descriptive statistic calculators, just some websites that might be of interest to you, maybe even be helpful to you during regarding the content that we're covering during this particular week. And then finally, that 4th very common page is the live online session. So here's the link to Tuesday's live online class. So we click on that and it would open up WebEx, and then you sign in and say, yep, this is the one I want to do, and you would join WebEx. Now, one thing to know with that, when you log in, so if I click on that, it's going to open up WebEx, and it'll look like this for you. So all you simply do is that you'll notice that this is the same link for all 16 live online sessions, but you're going to have to come back to this link each time. And what you'll simply do is you're going to type in your name and your email address here. The password is already provided for you. If it wasn't for some reason, just know that in the instructions down here, it gives you the password. It's SCCPSY. So just be aware that that's your password, and you can enter it if it's not. But it should all, again, have everything entered, and then you just type in your name and your email address. All right. Now, right now, it's not letting me join because it hasn't started yet. But so I'll try to start these at least 5 minutes before the class starts, if not longer, especially on the first day, just so people can make sure that they get in. All right, so that's how we're going to get to WebEx. And then that's the 4 common pages that you're going to see in every week. But let me show you what's going to show up after that. So what we've got those were the 4 pages we just looked at: overview and learning objectives, checklist, resources, live online sessions. Also, what you're going to see by topic area are some lecture videos. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break those down by chapter. And so we can ignore this one right here, and you'll see it right here. And so when you click on this lecture videos for the Intro to Statistics, it's just a bunch of links to some different YouTube videos that I've created, and it's me going through the material for the course. And so you can just click on this and watch it here. You can watch it on YouTube. Again, part of the benefit of having this available to you is that you can slow it down, you can speed it up. So if I'm going too slow, you can, again, speed it up to 1.25 or 1.5 speed, or slow it down. You can stop it, pause it to take your notes, and so on. And so we've got each chapter is broken down into shorter videos. And so you'll see that the first video is 9 minutes, the next one is 14, 13, and 13. That's Intro Statistics. Know that I've also made available to you my old videos, which are, I mean, they're again probably 5 or 6 or 7 years old, but I just put them on there. You do not, absolutely do not need to watch them. But if there's something that maybe you want to watch, it's going to be 90% the same as what I did in the newer ones. It's just that the slides are improved and they're a little bit cleaner, but I just wanted to put it on there just in case it could be helpful. All right, so those are the lecture videos. And so then let me pop back out and sort of point out what we did. So I skipped this one because this is an old one, but then you'll see some assignments. So one of the assignments for you to do is to complete the student information form. Another one is to complete the syllabus acknowledgement. And then you've got an intro to WebAssign problem set. So once you get your account started in WebAssign, here's just a practice one. It's not anything that's going to affect your grade, but I just want to make sure students can get into WebAssign and feel comfortable on it. And then we start by section. So you'll see here, all of these two here say Intro to Statistics. So there's a lecture video on Intro to Statistics, and there's a problem set on Intro to Statistics. The one thing to know with the problem sets is when you click on that assignment here in Canvas, those assignments are not in Canvas, they're in WebAssign. So it'll just say this assignment is on WebAssign, and you'll have to go into WebAssign to answer that. Now, if I click next, it's going to take me to the next set of lecture videos. The next chapter is frequency distributions. Here's our lecture videos, and then here's also the old one. And then here's the problem set for that. Again, it's on WebAssign. And then we can go to, for each section, or essentially for each class period. So we're going to have this class on Tuesday. We're going to cover on Tuesday Introduction to Statistics, Chapter 1, and Frequency Distributions, Chapter 2. There is this thing called a muddiest point survey. It is really, really simple. It is 2 questions. What was the clearest thing you learned in those topics, and what is the muddiest thing for you? What are you confused about? What's not making a lot of sense to you? I'm going to end up using the muddiest answers to then try to help with anything that seems commonly that people are commonly struggling with. And so this is simply, you're going to get points for just completing this. But it's going to help me with the instruction. It'll help you in terms of if there are muddy things, and I get a chance to be able to try to clear that up. This is a great way to do that. And so that's the muddiest points survey. And so I didn't answer that, so I'm just going to leave that site for now. But so that's something that's, again, part of your grade. Is, again, easy to get the points just because you just have to do it. And so that's, I can click next, and now the next section that we're going to cover, and this will be covered on Thursday's class, is Chapter 3, which is Measures of Center. You can see all the videos here. Again, broke them up into smaller chunks, and then you can see the old video, and then you should see a problem set. Oh, and there's a muddiest point as well. Okay? So there's a muddiest point for that topic, there's a problem set for that topic, and then at that point, we are done with what I've made available to you. So what you should see every week is basically the overview, the checklist, the resources, live online session links, and then from there, it will be my lecture videos and any assignments that you need to do. And so just work through those parts of on Canvas. And the only things that will be added to this each week or in any given week will be either an exam, and I'm going to try to set it up so that we have an exam about every 2 weeks. This first section, we're actually going to have an exam in the middle of next week. And that's because these first 4 chapters are shorter and they're mostly review for people. So we want to spend less time on them so that we can spend more time when things start to get a little bit harder. So we're going to try to have this exam completed by next Thursday. By Thursday's class, we want the exam completed. And it's basically covering chapters 1 through 4, which is Intro to Statistics, Frequency Distributions, Measures of Center, and Measures of Spread. For most people, it should be some form of review, and the material's not particularly difficult, so that's why we're going to do it pretty quick. In a regular 16-week class, it would take us about 2.5 weeks to cover it, but we got to speed it up because we're in this 8-week class. So you might see exams added, and then the other thing is we're going to have the deep dive assignments. A lot of the deep dive assignments are going to be things that we'll often do them actually during some of our live online meetings, but some of them are going to be things you'll have to do on your own outside of our live meetings. So just kind of one way to think about the class is that in terms of learning the material, you've got your textbook available to you if you want to buy that. But then the main thing is watching the lecture videos, doing your problem sets on WebAssign, and then also attending the live online sessions. All of that should be hopefully enough to help you really understand what you need to do for the course. And then it's just a matter of completing the assignments as they come due. So that's just an overview of how to navigate the course on Canvas and where to find things. A couple other things just while we're here is announcements. There is an announcement regarding how to sign up for WebAssign. So if you do the how to sign up for WebAssign video, you'll see that that's where we go. There is also a syllabus tab, which has a link to our syllabus, as well as the link to those textbook websites and the Google Books versions of the textbook. And then finally, grades would be your other option here where you can look at your grades. But then finally, Cisco WebEx. That's where you're going to find my office hours. So I have office hours on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1:30 to 2:45, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 1:15, so right after our class. So if you click on the Cisco WebEx in our course, and then at the top here, click on office hours, you will see my office hours. And so I've set it up as appointments, and each appointment is 15 minutes long. And so if you want one of these appointments, so let's say you want the Wednesday appointment at 1:30, if you click on it, then scroll down to the bottom, you see confirm meeting button. Just click that, and you'll see a page that says you've confirmed your meeting, the office hour. It should send you an email, and then it also should send me an email, and those emails will have a link to WebEx for us to hold that office hour and meet each other. So that's how we're going to do office hours. It is by appointment. And so these are the official appointment times, my official office hours, but also know that I'm available outside of these times if we need to. So we can always do it by appointment. So if you need to meet some evening or on a Friday or maybe the weekends, in some cases, I might be able to meet with you. So just reach out to me and then we can schedule something on our own. Okay, so that was basically it. The Google Drive, the SEC library is nothing that we're going to really have to worry about for this course. So that hopefully gives you a good sense of Canvas and how to navigate that for this class. Thanks.